Jaguars defeat the Lions 25-7 in this week 2 preseason matchup. Let's talk about this game. Now, before we get into this video, huge shout out to this video's sponsor, BetUS. Guys, I'm telling you right now, if you guys were to bet on the Jaguars against the spread the last 2 weeks, you are a winner. The Jaguars are 2-0 against the preseason spread. So that's one little nugget for you guys. But if you aren't somebody that likes to bet on preseason games, I should say, if you're not a degenerate gambler, you can go, put different season-long bets on the Jaguars, all things ranging from the exact win total to, whether they're going to win the Super Bowl or not, whether they're going to get to the playoffs. My favorite one being that they have set the over-under for the Jaguars win total at 9.5 wins. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely go to BetUS and use my link down below. If you put down 100, they're going to put $225 into your account. Really appreciate them for sponsoring this video, and remember to gamble responsibly. Now, with all that said, let's get into this video. Now, like I said, the Jaguars won this game 25-7. If you're someone that keeps track of preseason records, we are undefeated, baby. 2-0 to start this season, which is actually weird for the Jaguars preseason-wise. It seems like the Jaguars in the preseason were always just god-awful. We try to rationalize and justify why we look so bad. But, yeah, the Jaguars actually looking pretty good. We're moving the ball, all that good stuff. And for this video, similar to what I did on Bleacher Report, I did a live stream on Bleacher Report literally just like 5 minutes ago. I'm going to do this video similar to the way I did that and give out some winners and losers, because these games don't really matter a whole lot when it comes to, how the team plays as a unit. It's more about, because there's no real game planning. They're going out there, they're putting some basic stuff out there, seeing who makes plays. So that's kind of what happens here. I want to give some of my big honorable guys. And the big winner is Jeremiah Ledbetter. 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, looking like Aaron Donald out there. And look, this guy is definitely going to make the 53-man roster. If you look at it, when I was at Jaguars training camp this year, I had noticed there was this big dude, number 90, that was out there playing with the ones. And I was like, who is this guy? And I looked and I was like, oh, it's Henry Mondeau. I forgot we signed this guy to like a 1-year deal way back in March after all the big free agents were signed. Well, guess what? He got put on the IR. And also, Foley Fatukasi is currently out with an injury. So they need someone to really fill that hole. And, right now, Ledbetter is getting an opportunity. And, he showed out. He showed out, man. And now, Ledbetter isn't some kind of like undrafted rookie that's just surprising people. He's been around the NFL a little bit. He was a 6th-round pick by, believe it or not, the Lions back in 2017. He's been on 5 different NFL teams. He was actually on the Buccaneers roster when they won their Super Bowl. So he's been around a little bit, has some NFL experience, understands Mike Caldwell's defense. And, yeah, he's going to be a guy that, I think makes some kind of impact out here for the Jaguars. And we definitely need that. And, with some of these injuries that are piling up. So, yeah, Jeremiah Ledbetter, big game by him. He dominated. It was really good to see that. Now, flipping to the same side of the ball, K'Lavon Chaisson. Now, look, K'Lavon Chaisson did have a couple pressures, but my big problem with him is that he just never gets home. He can go in there and get some pressure, but he needs somebody else to clean up for him. He can never, take his own plays and make it his. He can never turn his own sacks, into something for him. It's got to be someone else cleaning up. Or if he gets a sack, it's him doing cleanup duty for somebody else. So, look, he was a 1st-round pick in 2020. His Twitter bio is Sack Guru. He's had 1 sack in each of the last 3 years. He just has been a very good player for us. And, we're in a situation where, we are kind of slim at edge. And the Jaguars, GM and coaching staff, it's almost like they understand that and they don't really care. They're just going to run with what we have on the roster. Look, they probably know more than us. Like, we've seen Jordan Smith and Yasir Abdullah do some stuff. But, K'Lavon Chaisson, just disappointing. And look, he probably makes the roster, but it's just disappointing. I just got to say that. It's just a little bit disappointing. Now, next one, I'm combining 2 players in this next winner category, and that is running backs Tank Bigsby and Dearness Johnson. Look, Tank Bigsby ran wild this game. He had 13 carries for 70 yards, and he was really good in situations where he made something out of nothing. And he was a big investment in us. Look, the Jaguars drafted him in the 3rd round of this last draft. And like, I think when they drafted him, they had the idea of Travis Etienne being really good in between the 20s, but we needed a real red zone guy, a 3rd and 1 bruiser. And look, you could see why they drafted him this game, because he kind of excelled in the areas that that he was known to be pretty good in. Now, and I think if you're looking at this fantasy wise, like I made a fantasy football video not too long ago, and I think that he's going to be a fantasy football pest for ETN, because I think ETN is going to get a lot of all purpose, but ETN may not get the touchdowns because I think that they're going to give a lot of those carries to a guy like Tank Bigsby. But if you're more of a big Jaguars fan that just wants the most points possible from the Jaguars, yeah, Tank Bigsby is gonna be that dude. And look, he looked really good this game. They really gave him a full starting workload, 13 carries in the first half. I think that they wanted to really get him fed so he gets used to just the speed of the NFL game. Now, he's not going to get that kind of workload in a regular Jaguar game, especially 13 carries and a half, but if ETN does get hurt, he's going to be the RB1, and then he's going to have to get used to, getting the ball. And a lot of times with running backs, you want them to really get a feel for it, because running backs aren't necessarily their best on their 1st, 2nd, 3rd carry. They're sometimes better on their 8th, 9th, and 10th carry when they've had some balls, when they've had, some different runs, and when they've had those kind of opportunities. So Tank Bigsby was really good. Dearness Johnson was a beast, 6 carries for 36 yards. That's 6 yards per carry, as well as accounting for 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he was really good. And look, it was one reason why when we drafted Tank Bigsby, I was a little bit confused, because I was like, man, Dearness Johnson is actually a really good running back. I remember watching him a little bit for the Browns. He played football at USF. I've seen this guy around a good bit. And, he's a good running back, and he showed this game what he can do. And, look, I like to see these games out of these two guys, but I'm going to kind of move this over to a loser spot, and that is running back Snoop Conner. Yeah, Snoop Conner, 5th round pick in 2022. No action until 7 minutes left in the game when he actually got carries. And I don't know, 5 carries for 18 yards, 2.7 yards per carry. He just hasn't done anything to wow me, if I'm being honest. And, he made the roster last year because I think the Jaguars kind of invested a 5th round pick in him. They want to, see him play a little bit. But right now, it's very clear the top 4 running backs on the Jaguars will be ETN, Bigsby, JaMycal Hasty, and Dearness Johnson. And teams don't really carry a 5th running back. I'd be surprised, honestly, if Snoop Conner even makes the practice squad. So, yeah. That's who I got as a loser, running back Snoop Conner, unfortunately. Now, a winner in this category is Elijah Cooks. What a beast this guy is. I mean, 6'4", 250 pounds. He's an undrafted rookie from San Jose State. He had 2 catches for 69 yards, dragged a dude on one of his catches. And really, when you look at this wide receiver 6 position battle, I mean, there are some really, really good players competing for these spots, like Tim Cook. You have Kevin Austin Jr. You have, you have Kendrick Pryor. You have a lot of guys that are pretty good dudes. Seth Williams that are competing for that spot, and it feels like this wide receiver 6 spot would have been like a wide receiver 3 on Jaguars teams from 2012 and 2013. But these guys were, he played like a really good player. And when you look at the wide receiver 6 spot, you may want to have a guy that has something that the other wide receivers on the team don't have. Look, as good as Calvin Ridley is, as good as Christian Kirk is, what does Elijah Cooks have that those guys don't have? Just a crazy size, and maybe that helps him get on the roster. Special teams is really going to be his introduction to the roster, but he looks like a beast, and it's really, really fun to watch him play. Now, loser. Now, this is when this video may get a little spicy. Loser is CJ Beathard, and he was just kind of bad. 12 for 20, 60% completion percentage, 138 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He's just inaccurate. He provided no spark for the Jaguars offense. His biggest pro to be on the Jaguars roster is that him and Trevor Lawrence are good friends. Him and Trevor Lawrence are ping pong buddies. But man, like, he's just not very good. And it's tricky because you look at the NFL and like the next guy, I'm going to go ahead and say the next guy, and then we're going to start talking about them. The next winner is Nathan Rourke. He was 10 for 20 this game, 83% completion percentage, 121 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. However, 2 of his first 3 drives led to touchdowns, and the offense just seems to move with him. And he discussed his quarterback 2 spot, and what really earns a quarterback 2 spot? Is the quarterback 2 spot go to a guy that's a career veteran? Because you look around the NFL, Patrick Mahomes has had Chad Henne for so many years, and now they signed on Blaine Gabbert. Josh Allen has had, Case Keenum over there. You look at these different NFL vets or these NFL quarterbacks, especially young guys, and generally they have backups that have played in the NFL for a long time and just understand the game of football to the point where when they get off the field, the quarterback one, usually the first guy they talk to is the backup quarterback. They discuss stuff with them. So, does Trevor Lawrence need to come out the field and be able to talk to CJ Beathard? And I made the point before where it's like, people say, oh, well, if that's his job, then just hire him as a coach. I'm not sure if it's that easy. So do you have a guy like Nathan Rourke as your quarterback too? Because he does appear to be better. He looks to provide the team with a spark when he comes in. But let's be real, he doesn't know as much about the NFL as CJ Beathard. I mean, have you guys ever watched CFL football? They only have 3 downs. The field is like a different size. It's just a very weird league. I don't like it. I watched them like, this is so stupid. But so I mean, there's a good chance maybe they keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster with him out there. But I know if you're talking real football, Nathan Rourke just looks better. He just looks better. So I don't know, the quarterback 2 spot, I'll let Doug Peterson, kind of talk about it, and we'll kind of see what it comes. But at the end of the day, if Trevor Lawrence goes down and we don't have him in the playoffs, we have no shot. I mean, we're a different team. No matter who you sign out there, whether it's Nathan Rourke, CJ Beathard, if you bring somebody in from outside, Trevor Lawrence is the difference maker with his team. So that's kind of what I have to say about that. Now, some honorable mentions for this is cornerback Gregory Jr. Look, he had another interception. He's been a part of 3 turnovers in 2 weeks. Love to see that, especially when, maybe he can earn a starting spot with the Jaguars, especially with Antonio Johnson out. That kind of provides him more of an opportunity to potentially play into that role. Jordan Smith played, more pressures. He played pretty well. Yasir Abdullah, another guy that flashed. Look, it was a good game. It was a fun game. Look, granted, the stars didn't play, and it's not really as fun when you don't see Trevor and friends out there playing. But it was still cool to see the Jaguars play. And look, we're over halfway done with preseason. Only one more preseason game left. The next preseason game is going to be the most fun because that's when the starters play the most. And then we have a 2-week silent period where we just wait for week 1 to get here, where the Jaguars will travel to Indy and hopefully beat down Anthony Richardson and the Horseshoes out there. So really, really fun stuff. Really fun season ahead. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my live stream today as well as my this video. Also, guys, I started up a Discord. Join the Discord down below. I just started yesterday and we're almost at 200 people. Crazy. Would love to have you guys involved. Really good space for Jaguars talk. And with all that said, thank you guys for watching. Go Jags.